Guys, I can't believe it's the last of Legends in their own right. I can't believe how enjoyable it's been to do technical stuff like this, to not worry about interpretation and just go by pure fact. May have not been the best, but I can learn, I can get better. Then again, she says that and she's displaying yet more headcanon-y stuff. You may have been aware of the Mr. Clint City thing that went on just recently. Well, I've been drawing some potential other winners from this year and last year's competitions. Look, it's the Booter, but he never got fat! Anyway, I'm babbling on as always, so let's begin the last episode of Legends in Their Own Right. Heads up, it's Harrow LD, 4-star all-star with protection power. Now, there is one thing that I will criticise Harrow for straight away. That's 6 power. For a 4-star, it's on the lower end of the scale. I honestly believe that UR could have gotten away with 1 more power and still not make Harrow OP, because then opponents could still make his damage diddly squat. At the end of the day, it's all types of damage that will make or break a fight. Power just helps you to win rounds, and 6 may not help you win that many, even with the All-Stars bonus. But then again, that 7 damage makes him one of the heaviest hitting 4-stars in his clan. I'm not counting Asperov in there because his damage is conditional. So I guess that that low power of Harrow's doesn't matter too much, as it's not going to get lower in most cases, with his protection. Still going to get killed by power reducing Geist and Roots though, but he is going to set up quite a lot of 2-hit KOs if you play your cards right. Now, in terms of what your strategy is, Harrow could be your best option, surprisingly in a protective deck despite his hulking size. Marina's good alongside him for protective plans due to that damage reduction of hers, but she comes with an expensive cost. If you'd rather put in the hard work, I'd go for Harrow, but if you have the Clints, I'd go for Marina. And if you trust life per damage abilities and don't mind 3 less damage compared to Harrow, Lomanoju's a good option too. And then if you don't mind support on your damage, then there's Asperov as well, like I mentioned earlier. Time for Krazan LD, 3-star of the Roots with confidence power +3. Do the Roots really need a conditional card? Alongside Krazan, there's only like 2, I think, Beltran Collector and Chakra. I find that conditional cards like your confidence, your courage and revenge alongside an SOA bonus means at times you're just cancelling out your own ability. I can understand that a perma 8-5, that's basically if the free power wasn't on confidence, on a 3-star, especially with the SOA bonus, may be considered OP, but I'd have stuck power +2 on him and left it at that, because let's face it, as the someone with the same base as Bella LD and Naha LD, I'll say the same. 5 power on a 3-star just isn't cutting it half the time, especially when you have a lot of 2-stars with the same power. It's lower star count that wins the battle, people. However, the Roots do have a handful of good cards, so it's not terribly difficult to activate that confidence. Plus with confidence it means you don't have to sacrifice life or throw out a card just to activate it, and power boosts are never to be sniffed at. I'm just thinking, conditions like that, they can be useful though, when unactivated and you're up against SOA, which means you can throw them out and not get hindered too much because there's no ability to stop, and they waste their SOA. I do find that the Roots have many better 3-star than Krazan though, so he doesn't really get a look in. New Dial, she has no ability, but she's an 8 power irregardless of turn order, and she's there before the power reducers and abilities kick in. Rico has that 6 minimum 4 attack reduction, not up to Sacrum and Upper's bonus reduction standard, but still pretty close on that minimum. Also you've got Yuki for your DR minimum 1, you've got Gina for that beastly DR, I know, I can never say this guy's name, bear with me, Atawal Pet, he may take 5, but he has 5 as a minimum, so Gina is the deadly DR in that case. And then we have Dobbs LD, the 3-star of the Sacrum with protection bonus. Now the Sacrum bonus is a pretty useful bonus to protect, but I find it'll never be up to par with the Uppers bonus, who'd take 2 more at the same minimum of 3, and it's not like Dobbs really needs that much help. 7-4 stats at 3-star are actually pretty good, but still, it gives him the edge against most Nightmare and Piranhas. Not Glog and Spice though, with that SOA that they have. Does anyone even use Spice though? I don't know. But anyway, you could set Dobbs up for a 2-hit KO, but it would mean you'd have to Fury with a lot of the heavy hitters. Saul and Scrum, I can't pronounce his full name, they do have the 8, though with Scrum you have to rely on his ability. Pieter also can achieve the 8, but that's on his revenge conditional. I can't really compare any of those to Dobbs though, because they're 4 and 5 stars against his 3. So let's look at some other 3 stars. I'm going to say straight away, Sigma is overrated. Yes, high poison, but also a high minimum. I'd personally use Dobbs over her, especially when SOA means his damage is not going to be an issue compared to her measly 1. Now, Nagraf has the 1 less damage, but he's got that nifty -3 to the slightly questionable minimum of 4, but some of you may use him above Dobbs because, just because, and if you prefer to copy others' bonuses rather than protect your own, then you may want to look at Anachron, especially when you've got some heavy hitters that have got those attack reduction bonuses, because it does actually stack up. I found that out. If he has a minimum, if he has his reduction bonus activated and he's got it as his ability as well, it stacks up and it can be amazing. And then we have this guy with a flag. Sorry, I mean Fhtagn LD, 2-star of the Vortex with courage plus 3 life. Now, I'm going to be honest, I won't have much to say about this guy, like just him, because I've never used him. Yes, 2-star helps against all other values in same pill fights. Yes, 7 power permanently, because it's not conditional, is on the upper end of the power scale for his star count. And yes, 3 life is never to be scoffed at, even if it's conditional. But I guess I was always turned off by that damage, especially when Wardug came along. Yes, I know he has 1 base power as well. Not 1 base power, 1 base damage as well, but damage equals damage up. That means more often than not you can play that to your advantage. You know, you've got Nilo with the same power, 1 more damage, and she's only one of 2 DRs in the clan. And as you guys know me, I like to have at least 1 DR in the clan, sometimes even at least 2. So I like to use her instead of Fhtagn, so she can be alongside her damage reduction buddy Secutor. Now, I have actually noticed that a lot of the Vortex 2-stars only have 1 or 2 damage. Okay, you've got Nagods, he's got 4, but he's got 5 power and he's not got the best power reduction in the world. I know a lot of people would rather take the conditional life that Fhtagn has, but I'd rather take the conditional power. Butch is out there, people. Potential 8 power for a 2-star is pretty bang tidy. Oh my god, I did not just say that. Ugh. I'd also like to point out the lovely Sib Leah and her poison, plus her non-conditional 8 power. I'm not saying you should never use Fhtagn, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying there are better cards out there in his clan. But I just realised something. That bonus. 1 damage isn't too much to sacrifice to get a free pill back, but I find you just set yourself up for some tricky situations, thanks to op damage getting in. To me, the order goes a little something like this: Dobbs, Harrow, Fhtagn, and then Krazan. And I have the horrible feeling that all the Roots fans are going to start shouting at me. But I just see protection as a better ability than conditions like courage. Dobbs only peaks above Harrow because whilst Harrow takes the power through the All-Stars bonus, Sacrum takes the attack, and I believe attack is better than power, so he wins on that. Yes, Fhtagn may only have the 1 damage, but he has the 7 power 2-star against Krazan's 5 power 3-star, and I'm just going to leave my reasoning for those 2 at that. Well, I can't say who it'll be next time because that's everyone done. I'm hoping to get a gameplay vid in this weekend around a very protective pussycat deck, since I'm doing the lowest LD missions for the 10 credits. Who knows, I may do another series of technical stuff like this in the future. I may do some more New Blood reviews, like the time I decided to do the quick stuff with like Holly and Alistair and Cutie and Douglas. No, it wasn't Douglas, Douglas was Bernie. Oh well. Yeah, so yeah, I'd love to do a load of stuff with New Blood, though I find you can talk a lot better about cards that you've actually used than just looking at them on paper, because if you look at them on paper it may turn out that they're good on paper but they're actually crap when you use them, and vice versa. Because I've always found people say, oh, this card's good, that card's good, and I'm like, no, they're crap. They're absolute crap. I can't use them. That's why I think Sigma's overrated, because she just doesn't do it for me. But anyway, yeah, I'd love to do some new Blood stuff. And but anyway, yes, as I said, gameplay vid at the weekend. Look after yourselves. I shall see you next time, and bye bye from the last legends of their own right.